We're dealing with ex-offenders who are re-entering society and making the readjustment into the free world. And of course, we have with us to give us this information Pastor KWalker. And of course, Pastor Walker, let us simply in a real sense continue where we were when we had our commercial break by allowing you to talk about some of these individuals in the parole system and how they became incarcerated and et cetera.
You know, as I was saying, Dr. Haney, when you commit a crime, you're the criminal. And chances are there's a victim involved in the process. It could be a crime against a property. But in essence, you're the criminal, you commit the crime, there's a victim. But now, here it is, you're coming up for parole, and now the roles are being reversed on you. Now, in essence, in a lot of situations, the inmate is being victimized all over. It has been made to become the victim in a lot of situations in terms of when they go to the parole board and they're sitting there and they're trying to be released, they've done what they're supposed to do while they're in the system to rehabilitate themselves. And then the parole board, a lot of times, are not taking any note of what they've done to better themselves while they're in the system, to say to society that, yes, I have done a crime, I did it, I'm not denying it, I paid my debt to society, I'm sitting here, I'm going to parole out, I need an opportunity to come back into society. I don't need to be victimized. I don't need to be constantly reminded for the rest of my life of what I've done. You know, in other words, a lot of situations, you go in with a 5-year sentence, an 8-year sentence or something like that. You're not really a hardened criminal in that sense, but now society is saying you've got a life sentence regardless if you got a 2-year, 3-year, 4-year, 5-year sentence. The society is saying you've got a life sentence because for the rest of your life, people want to remember what you've done in your past and continue to penalize you for all those things. And people need an opportunity, Dr. Haney. People need a chance to make the adjustment back to society. You know, we'll say to the ex-offenders and we'll say to society concerning the ex-offenders, I should say, that this person, he's no good, he's low down because he was in prison, he got out and he went back to prison. But nobody looks at a lot of times why they went back to prison. You know, what was the obstacles that was in front of me that kept me, that made me go back to that old way of thinking. You know, because if I develop myself, if I'm doing something, and then I need to get out and I need somebody to allow me the opportunity to step in a position to practice some of the stuff that I've learned. You know, not just keep me held bondage to what I did in my past. You know, and that's how that thing working now.
Well, it seems to me that the parole board, is there some kind of political motive in terms of how they operate? Or is there a fear on in terms of if they allow those individuals who have served their time and who have done everything necessary in order to meet all of the qualifications, it seems to me that that ought to be sort of an automatic kind of situation because of the way the individual has reached the parole board.
Dr. Haney, it's almost like the individual that looks like he won't come back is the one that has the hardest chance of getting out. The individual that looks like he'll return is the one that readily makes parole because chances are they'll return. But I don't know if it's money motivated, politically motivated. I don't know what it is. I'm just saying that's what it looks like. That may not be what it is, but that's what it gives that appearance that the guy that says that I've got it all together, I've done this, I've got this under my belt, I got that under my belt. I can't, in essence, come back into society and make a positive contribution to society. And these are the guys saying, well, okay, come back to see us in 2 years and we'll reconsider your case. But
even though within the system he has done everything. That it was necessary to do in order to get him to that particular point in terms of his discipline while he's been there, in terms of violations and et cetera, et cetera. Right. That's why he's there, because they believe that he might be able to get out.
Absolutely. And my thing is, give the guy an opportunity, give him a chance to put into practice what he said he has accomplished while he's in there. You know, and give him the opportunity.
But now, is there a possibility that there might be an attitude in which they believe that crime is on the increase everywhere, okay? And that they believe that perhaps if they are, quote, too lenient on these individuals by allowing more to get out than getting out, that they will be accused of whatever, of contributing really to crime problems. Would that be some kind of rationalization behind what we're talking about? That's what we're looking for.
I mean, it could possibly be rationalization, but the reality of it is, regardless, if an individual's got a determinate sentence, at some point he's going to expire that sentence. Whether you let him out on parole or he expires that sentence, he's coming up out of there regardless. I've got a guy in my program now that expired a sentence, did 30 calendar years on the sentence. He expired the sentence. So regardless, he's coming out. But you take a guy, he's developing himself, give him an opportunity. And I need people to understand when I say turn the criminal into the victim, in the sense that when they come out, all these roadblocks, all these obstacles, you're not giving opportunities for them to better themselves, to move forward in life. They got families, you know, that are waiting for them, and they need their families. They need the family support, and they need all of that. But there's a lack of communication on, as far as I'm concerned, between the parole hearing officer, the parole board that paroles these individuals back into society, and the parole officers that are required or assigned to supervise these individuals once they come back into society. There's a problem there when you're dealing with parole officers that don't care. And they don't care, as indicated by the fact that they're not following up, they're not visiting the places people staying at. You know, they're not looking for out for their best good in terms of. In other words, let me say it to you like this. People that come into my program, they'll make a 90-day commitment to come into my program while they're incarcerated. They'll get out, and the parole officer will allow them to move on to somewhere else that is not even on the approved list of places for this individual to parole out to. Now, that's setting an individual up to fail. Now, you know, if an individual paroles out into a structured program that's designed to help them to get their life together from A to Z, and then you allow them 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or a month later to leave that program because they come up with an idea, I mean, you're victimizing that individual, and you're saying to that person, I don't care about you, because you know, and when they leave, and I've seen it happen over and over and over again, Dr. Haney, they'll come in and they're allowed to do that like that, and they end right back up in the prison system, and it's because the parole officers are not on top of their job as well as they should be. And I know, you know, there's a lot of them not going to like what I just said, but I don't care, because the reality, truth is truth, and truth stands alone. You might have to proper lie, Dr. Haney, but truth will stand by itself. And if people would get on their job and do what they're supposed to do, require that these people hold up to their commitments that they're making when they're coming out, they will lessen the chances of them becoming reincarcerated again, because they're in a structured environment, in a structured program, they're doing what they're supposed to do. So, you know, that's what's going on.
Okay.
And I think if there needs to be a look at the system. There needs to be a look at the parole system. There needs to be a look at the parole when they get out, the supervision part of the system and everything like that. Because
let us hold it right here, Pastor, and we're going to take this final commercial break. Then we'll come back and allow you to continue this, and we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break. The final segment of the show for